All right, here we go. We have a former NCAA Division I athlete, rapper, award-winning producer, and artist from Brampton, and also from Toronto as well too back then. B1GJuice, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing, big dog?
I'm doing alright, man. I've been listening to like a lot of the stuff lately and all that. Shadows was like a very dope project and all that, but like the project that got me like kind of tuned in like throughout today. Like I was like listening to your music today. It was Spicy 2-piece, and I love the concept and everything else too. 10K was also like very fire too. And then like I'm listening to the singles right now, and with all the other stuff that we were talking about, like being playing ball with like Tristan Thompson for a bit too. Like that line caught me on, and then you being like a father, and like having like your own kid and all that. That was like kind of interesting in like one of the lines too, and like everything else too. And then it was very interesting from song to song too. And then also the film for Shadows and all that, like the film for the album, it was like very dope to see as well. And
appreciate you.
Been watching like the other interviews so far. The one with Jugi, it was like pretty dope as well.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yo, just trying to tell the story, man. Yeah, man. That's all it is. Just trying to tell the story, bro.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the Lens of Yashu for the very first time and all that.
Thank you, big dog. I appreciate it.
Very extensive history for a bit too, and I know that it's already covered in previous like interviews and all that, but I want to give it like the whole TLOY twist for a bit too.
Okay, so, there we go. Let's get it.
So this is your first time here. So you grew up in Toronto and Brampton. That's correct?
Yes, correct. Born in Toronto, grew up in Brampton.
All right. So which ends did you grow up by, and what was like the environment like for you growing up? Would you say you had like a great childhood, or was it like a very different vibe from there?
I lived up on. I was born in Etobicoke. Moved to Rexdale. Shout out Markbrook Lane, Kiping Steeles area. That's where I lived until I was about like 10 years old. Then I moved to Brampton, West Side. Scratch that. I lived in Knightsbridge for a bit. Then we moved to the East Side over there. Shout out Brampton. Shout out C. Yeah, bro. And I would say it was the drastic change growing up. Like I was sad for a long time when I moved from Toronto to Brampton, right? And then you see certain things that you were comfortable with growing up, and you move to Brampton and people are talking about those same things in a different light, and it's like, whoa, I don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? Like I never grew up thinking to myself like, yo, you're living in the hood. You know what I mean? Like it didn't make sense to me. Like I had friends in areas like John Garland and all those things, and we were running around playing ball and kicking shit, and it's like you never think to yourself like, yo, you're in the hood until you move out and you look back and people are talking. It's like, whoa, like, okay. I don't feel it's that way, but if y'all say so, you know what I mean? You're moving in a building with kids. You got friends on every floor. You know what I mean? I'm talking about we're running soccer games with 10, 12 kids, and then you move to Brampton. Now, when I moved to Brampton, I was like, for the first couple months, I was the only like kid alone in my area, like let alone black kid. So it was just a huge drastic change, bro.
Oh, I definitely know what you mean. I mean, I've interviewed like a couple like Rexdale artists back then. JD Makes Noise and B and all that. And,
there we go.
Like their experiences were quite interesting too. And I noticed with Rexdale, they've had like their internal issues before in the past too, like with the violent related stuff. But then like also like it was like a hub for music at that time.
Oh, 100%.
With like Nav,
100%.
Jellystone,
Exactly.
Ella,
Exactly.
Pyrex, Mula First, and all these other people too. And then Brampton, you have, Tory Lanez and all that.
Russell.
Yeah. And then also Jay and Trey as well from For Y'all Entertainment and all
there
that.
We go.
So, like, even back then, were they big in terms of, like, music at the time? In terms of being industry ends? Or just as, like, a community and all that?
Brampton, when I moved to Brampton, I ain't know nothing about Brampton. All of those people you just named in Brampton, like, came from Brampton, were big after I came to Brampton. Like, none of that was popping in Brampton. Like, when I mentioned the ball with Tristan Thompson thing, like, that's not a lie. Like, it's so funny. He lived up the street from my cousin in Brampton, and we honestly used to play ball all the time. I shouldn't say all the time, that's lying, but we used to play ball. Either way, so it's just like, when he was like the first person I knew from Brampton. Like, okay, people know him. And then you had Anthony Bennett, and then it was really just ball. And then you had Tory when it was like, all right, shoot, Tory's out there. And then now you got Toby. So it's just kind of like a trickle effect. You know what I mean? It was just one and bang, 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 bang. And now, you know, obviously you got to give those guys shout outs because they're the ones that kind of opened the door to what Brampton is. You know what I mean? Nobody even knew where Brampton was. You'd go to Buffalo, you know what I mean, or New York, and you'd say, like, yeah, I'm from Buffalo. I mean, I'm from Brampton. Where's Brampton? You know what I mean? Oh, it's about 30 minutes from Toronto. Oh, I know Toronto. All right, cool. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
You know, just getting back into the whole like Tristan Thompson situation.
Mm-hmm.
What was he like growing up, and you know, how was it like seeing him play like professional like NBA for a bit too, and like, you know, even being married to Khloe Kardashian for a bit, like having kids, and you know, the whole like cheating situation too. Like it's been kind of like wild. But
I'll say this: he was always a hard worker, dog. He always worked hard. I'll tell you that right now. Like, I remember we would just, like, the times I played ball with him, it was just, he was just taking it like serious. Everybody else is just out there shits and giggles, you know what I mean? But nah, he was out there going in, going hard, you know what I mean? When anybody pulling up, he's playing. You're leaving, he's playing. Like, so that's one thing I could say about him. It's just always worked hard, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't know if you've seen it at the time, like the whole like Tory Lanez Toby battle back then.
Oh yeah, we grew up on that YouTube, on those Facebook battles, man. Like, honestly, it's so funny. Like, that's why when you mentioned Tory, I had to mention Toby. You know what I mean? Because those are the battles I grew up on. You know what I mean? Shout out to Tech Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? That's when those two guys were just going back and forth. Like, it was a big thing. You know what I mean? Out in Brampton, especially, you got, you know what I mean? You got Fletcher's Meadows and Campion. Public school, Catholic school, they literally shared the same block essentially. Like,
exactly.
So it was always those freestyle battles were crazy though. Crazy.
I know that you spoke a little bit about your childhood for a bit, but what were you like from birth until like the start of adulthood, like until 18 and all that, you know?
I would say you see what I was a little bit in spurts. You kind of hear it in the music, you know what I mean, sometimes. But other than that, like, I would say I was much more braggadocious, much more in myself, you know what I mean? I'm confident. I got much more confidence now than I did before, but the confidence back then was just much more outward, you know what I mean? I got humbled, you know what I mean? I got humbled a lot when I was when I got to university and things, so it taught me a lot. I learned to just love the simple things. I used to chase a lot. I still do, you know what I mean? I'm still always on the go, running, dipping, dodging, but back then it was a different type of dipping, dodging.
Most definitely. I know that you talked about like your sports, like your sports experience for a bit too. You know, playing football in the States too. But to speak more on that experience as like an NCAA Division I athlete, because we never really have athletes on the platform and all that, so it's kind of like interesting to see it from their perspective.
Yeah.
But what was like the experience like going to school in the States? So like I know that you went to Georgia and I think North Carolina? Or
no, Furman. It's in South Carolina.
South Carolina, sorry.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like just like playing football for a bit until the injury, was it like a totally different experience?
Oh, yeah, completely. For me, it was a complete 360. I only went to Atlanta for, I would say, a year and a half, one full year in school. And that school year, bro, that school was so easy. I used to honestly just like either chill in the gym or chill like with the secretary. Honestly, because like the work out there, it was a drastic different in like how easy the work was for me going out there, right? But the football was a completely different story. Like, those guys are animals, right? And you see why, right? Because, for instance, the school I was going to in Brampton was 2 floors, and we probably had easy like 1,000 kids. When I went to Atlanta, my school was 2 hallways, 1 floor, 2 hallways. We probably had in total like maybe 300 kids, maybe that, bro. And I kid you not, like I went from a school that was multicultural in Brampton to like in Atlanta, like we had 2 white people in the entire school. One was a teacher and one was a student. Like, it was a drastic, it was a crazy change. Not to say I didn't like it, like, you know what I mean? Like, going to Atlanta is the first time I felt comfortable in school. Like, I could be myself in school and the teacher wouldn't look at me any type of way. Like, teacher was selling brownies and, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a completely different vibe, Atlanta. I really loved Atlanta. Like, I really, really and truly loved Atlanta. You could see black people get together and kind of like, it was a community full of black people owning things. It was nice. And then I went to South Carolina, which is completely different. When I went to Greenville, that's when you think of the Bible Belt is what they call it, and that's just kind of like, yo, it was racist. I'll say that. I ain't gonna lie. It was prejudice a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. I used to play. I went back for homecoming one year, and I was in a grocery store. I wasn't wearing no football memorabilia, like nothing, just regular clothes. And some old white guy came up to me and started talking about the game. He was like, man, I can't believe you guys did so bad yesterday. What were you guys doing? What position do you play? Da 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 da. And I said, bro, you don't even know I played football. Like, you just assume a black guy in this area, he must be from the university or local university. That's why. It's like, bro, I'm not even, like, nah. Like, I don't even play anymore. Like, I like, relax. So it's just a huge drastic change. Like, everybody in the university that was black was either rich on a scholarship or played sports. One of the three. That was it. You know what I mean? And we were far and few in between. But the university sports experience, it taught me a lot.
Yeah. Almost definitely. And, even with the whole, like, Atlanta thing, too, because I know, like, some schools have, like, the whole, like, Howard effect with the HBCU type stuff and all that. The importance of black unity, like, black culture, the engagement, like, just with these events. Like, you definitely see it, like, everywhere and all that. And, it's crazy how Canada never really had, like, an HBCU before and all that. And I do feel like it could be necessary and all that, for that whole sense of, like, black unity and black culture together in that sense, too, just to, like, add on, so...
Maybe not even black, maybe an indigenous university. You know what I mean? Like, literally something that would protect that culture, right? In a sense, because I think they need it. You know what I mean? Just the same way you have HBCUs in the States, right?
Yeah.
So I think, but we're probably far from that. But I think that's something that should happen.
Yeah, no, most definitely. How did you get into producing and rapping by any chance?
We spoke about earlier. I kind of got into poetry. That's how I kind of started this. I was doing poetry from when I was like maybe 11 years old. You know what I mean? Doing poetry contests at school. Little Facebook poems and all of that kind of stuff. So I got into poetry when I went to university. I kind of snuck around and did like open mics and stuff like that, and people were feeling it. Then when I stopped playing ball, I kind of had nothing else to do. Like, I had to find an outlet because I was going through a lot. You know what I mean? I was hurting. And then at the same time, I didn't have the football, I was working out, practice, film. There was so much things, my life was consumed by football. So when I couldn't do any of that no more, it was also like, yo, what am I going to do here? And I always loved music. I was always a fan of music. I loved the way it made me feel, motivated me, either got me through good times or times when I didn't want to be in a good time. It got me in that mood as well, right? So I just thought to myself, you know what I mean? What is it here that I can do to kind of continue this journey that I'm on, and kind of find a passion, something that I like. And I was like, you know what, let me put this poetry together with this love for music and see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And, like, at home, what was, like, your musical background in history like, and what inspired you to become, like, a rapper, producer, and artist in that sense?
Oh, my pops used to, he grew, like, he raised me on music. Like, I'm talking all types of music. Like, I'm talking soft rock, so we're talking things like Queen, Phil Collins, Sting. Then we're talking about like old school reggae, like Lovers Rock, you know what I mean? Then we're going to like new age at the time, hip hop, which was like Biggie, Pac. I remember my first album was Dr. Dre's Millennium 2001. You know what I mean? That was my first album, the unclean version. Like, you know what I mean? With the sex interlude and everything. Like, he bought me that and said, yo, that's yours. Like, you know what I'm saying? And kind of put me on. BET was always running, much music always running in our house. Like, there's always music going on. So it was bred into me, the love for music, right? And just the fast differences in the music I would listen to. It just really gave me a genuine love for not just hip hop, but all types of music.
Most definitely. And I don't know, like, what your house life is like back then. Like, I don't know what's your background, if you want to, like, share it for a bit.
Oh, yeah, okay. My mom's is Jamaican and English, and my pops is Trini.
True.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, most definitely. So kind of like, even like with that whole, like, house influence too, because you kind of have like the whole like, British phase and all that, with the British invasion, and then you have the Jamaican stuff, like the Lovers Rock and all that, with the reggae and all that, and then I know with the Trini background, you can have like some calypso, some soca and all that. So
that's one genre I definitely missed out. Sorry, pops. We listen to a lot of soca now, so you know what I mean. A lot of soca, right? So it was a lot of music from a lot of different places. I'm mixed. You know what I mean? Like, I got people in my family that are Bayesian, people in my family that are English, like people in my family that are Korean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my whole entire family is just a mix of a bunch of different cultures. So we listen to everything. Yeah, man, it's great, man. It's great, man.
Definitely. And what artists or genres were you like mainly influenced by, and which artists would you like to like work with musically someday?
Ooh. I would say number one I always have to say is Freddie Mercury from Queen. And the reason I say that, I always listen to his music, I like the music, but I'll keep it a buck with you. It's not until I watched the movie I realized why. It's the way he expressed himself and how vulnerable he was with his music. But in a sense where he didn't tell it to you plainly. He kind of told it with riddles and rhymes, and he made you think. So I would say definitely he's an inspiration. And I would say like Nip, 100%, like R.I.P. Nipsey. He put me onto a lot of game from young. Well, like, I shouldn't say young, but from like early on before I even started rapping, right? So it was just with him, he gave me that motivation to like do something different with this rap. Don't just go out there and tell fairy tales and trying to get the money. Like, yo, you can do something better. You can motivate people. You can lead people to make a change. So it's just like, I would say those two people for sure. And then Biggie, 100%. Like, you know what I mean? I grew up on him. Like, my pops, like, it's just always made sense, right? Part of the reason why my name is B1GJuice. So.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And what would like a day in like recording or making music or even just producing a beat be like for you?
Ooh, it depends, honestly, like, kind of mood I'm in. If I find it's easier for me, or like, let's put it this way, we'll definitely go to the dispensary or hit up one of the man them, grab some kush, go to the corner store, get some splits. We don't do the backwards no more. You got to keep the vocals straight. Go pick up some snacks for show. Then we're gonna hit over that. I try not to drink too much, but if we are gonna drink, I personally like a bottle of red wine. I find the red wine and the weed mix is crazy. Get that. Go to the studio. Me, I'm a guy that likes to be prepared. So if it's a cook-up session, I'll have beats. I'm not the type of guy that likes to go to the studio, let's find a beat. Like, nah, I do all of that before I get to the studio. We ain't wasting time. So I'll have a collection of beats. And if it's a recording session, then all my shit's already recorded. Not recorded. All my stuff's already written down, rehearsed. We ready to go. If it's recording, we pulling up. We might spark one, load up some beats, and let's get it. And we load up the beats, and we're rocking. We're running through them. Might smoke once, and we ain't smoking again until we finish whatever we gotta record. We're gonna eat whatever we gotta eat. You get hungry, we eat after we record. So I'll tell you the truth. A recording session with me is not fun. We're not chilling and not. A recording session with me, it's straight work. We pulling up, we recording. Once we're finished recording and them vocals is over with, you can go ahead and do whatever you want. Smoke, drink, eat, whatever you want. But we need them vocals tight, clean. And if we're cooking up, that's a party. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Like, we're bumping beats, we're running through them, we're balling up, we're drinking, we're gonna eat, and we're gonna let the vibes just flow, catch a vibe, see what we're feeling. If we're feeling it, we're throwing on, I personally like to use my phone, because it's quick and easy. Throw a beat on, you can easily just hit boop, record on your phone, and it'll just freestyle for 20 minutes if you want to. Come up with melodies, hooks, structure, all of that, and just have it on your phone. So when you're done with it, essentially you could just go back now, listen back, what you like, what you don't like, and just put it together like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Kind of like that vibe from right there and all that.
Yeah,
like, I actually met up with a guy who was like in a band called like Bangers Breast and all that. He was like kind of like lead vocalist. Like, I know he's like, he said something about like being very strict when it comes to making unique music. So like, even like if it doesn't sound right, you know, like he'll be in a fit too. And like usually it's kind of noticing like, you know, you're an artist and like you're sensitive with your stuff and all that. So everything has to be perfect within like that realm too. So
yeah, the thing about me is I stopped striving for perfection because I feel like I realized like, yo, this whole thing is subjective. Like, what you might be considered perfect, somebody might not consider perfect, right? And it would be selfish for me to sit there and try to critique things to be as perfect as I want it to be when my audience might think it was good a long time ago. Now I might have messed up what the true message I was trying to get across because I'm trying to find the perfect balance of whatever the hell it is, right? So With me, it's usually I get it out. After that first demo, I'll know. After that first demo, I'll know. If it's good, beautiful. Let's continue work on it. Let's add to it. If it doesn't sound good, we're not even touching it. Back to the demo file, on to the next one.
Yeah, most definitely. And I want to get into your project right now. Shadows, it's out now on all platforms.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Created
sir.
like a short film for it.
Yes, sir.
You had, one of the lead vocalists from Bitter X-Broke in the film too. Like at the iconic like burger spot in Brampton and all that. So like it was very unique.
You know it, Sonny's. Shout out Sonny's, man.
Yeah, man, most definitely. So to speak more on like the project and the film, what was like the inspiration and creative process for both of them, and what made you decide on creating a short film for the project?
So that project was essentially like therapy for me. If you know anything of my past and anything of like playing in ball, stop playing ball, etc., when you listen to that project, like listen to the lyrics. And I'm literally like, it's like an open diary of my past. I'm trying to venting and I'm trying to getting all of that out. So that's something that we call shadow work. Or I shouldn't say we. Something that I learned is called shadow work. And it's kind of when you're working with your negative sides, instead of keeping them in a box, you're just exposing them and just trying to get lost in them and learn them and learn how to turn them into positive instead of negative. Right? Learn how to use those things for you to help you become a better person instead of just locking them away and hiding them. So that's kind of what I did with that album. And it's just an open diary of my past, trauma, hurt, etc. But you're still gonna hear some hope in there, which always is there. You know what I mean? So microfilm, that's a passion of mine. Filmmaking. I have a huge passion with it. I love films. I love writing scripts, stories. Like a lot of my music, if you listen, they're all stories. I try to tell my story through stories, and that's where that filmmaking aspect comes in. Like music videos are cool and all, but like I would much rather try to get my message across through a story rather than just a music video. So I feel like it's much more impactful.
Not a lot of people usually do like short films for the projects and all that. Like you'll kind of have like I remembered I think Fabulous like did one for like Los's Way for a bit too. It was kind of like maybe like more like a hood movie and all that.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he added that for like the deluxe edition for his project and all that. And you don't see it like with a lot of artists too. Like they'll create something more unique, like more like like pop outs or like release parties and all that, but like you don't see like short films in that sense too. And, I guess you're paving the way now for people to even do that. So.
Well, that's the thing. I'm hoping so. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I'm hoping so. And I feel like I could have did a big film, a large film, but at the end of the day, you have to remember like everything's getting smaller. Everybody's consuming things much more faster. The attention span is getting much more smaller. So nobody wants to sit there and watch even a 20-minute film, a 30-minute film, an hour film. So
yeah, almost definitely, man. To speak more on your other projects, such as like searching.zip, 10K, and then my favorite project right now, Spicy 2-piece.
Yeah.
What were like the inspirations and creative process for those projects as well?
Oh, searching.zip was experimental. I did all of that myself. Every single song you hear on that project is me. Like mix, master, everything. That's all me. Like. So that was literally me just trying my best to see what the audience liked and what they gravitated to. And then with 10K, that was me talking about the 10,000 hours I had put into this craft, but not about the amount of hours, but the quality of the hours, right? And then Spicy 2-piece, man, that was just me having fun, kind of my influence from the South, right? I feel like when I went to Atlanta and I went to university, that's where I really learned to have fun. Like, I was having fun up here, but when I went down there and you're amongst your people and you're chilling, and it's a completely different type of fun. They have real fun down there, man. You know what I mean? So that's why Spicy 2-piece, if you listen, it's really fun. We still got the messages, some scattered across there, but it's a real fun project. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, most definitely. I know this is like kind of like an added question, but like, you talk a lot about your like mental health within like a lot of sense, like especially within Shadows too, and in most cases too, how do you deal with your mental health for a bit? Like, since I know like it stemmed like a lot from like finishing, like having to leave college due to like the injury and all that. Like, what were like some effects that you've noticed like from that?
From that time till now?
Yeah.
At first, I was very depressed, definitely anxious. Like, I developed an extreme sense of social anxiety. Like, I didn't like crowds, places I would be extremely comfortable in, loud in, I'd be sneaking into and hiding in the back, just, you know what I mean, like it's like just to get food and things like that. Like I wouldn't leave my room. It was drastic. It was hard for me to understand and grasp what had happened to me, and I had to learn to let that go. I had to learn that, you know what I mean, not everything is your fault. Not everything is a result of something you did, but you can control the way you react to it, right? And that just took a lot of time, a lot of healing, a lot of meditating, a ton of meditating, a lot of learning, you know what I mean? I had to go through ego death. I had to realize that, you know, my perspective on life wasn't the only perspective. What I'm going through isn't just what's happening in the world right now. I just had to learn to step out of myself and be objective with things and just try to look at things with the glass half full instead of the glass half empty, right? But a lot of work. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of work, man. A lot of work.
I definitely agree, and I'm glad that you're sharing your story right now, even with your music, and even like for these interviews and posts as well too, and especially with the film. And you know, I do feel like speaking about your mental health is very important, like especially during these times and all that, because usually we go through like a lot of stuff, and you know, it's important to be kind in that sense because we never know how what someone's like going through right now. So I think just like even saying hi or just like showing like a contribution in that sense works out, you know. So.
No, 100%. You know what I mean? That's why I try to do with my music. Like, people look at me and they think you're a big, tough guy. I am big and tough. But I don't want to just be out there making it seem like I'm always big and tough. Like, we all go through things, bro. No matter how gangster you think you are, bro. Like, it's so funny. I love to talk to my boys, and I'll be like, yo, you're hurt, dog. And I'll be like, what are you talking about? I'm not hurt. And it's like, yo, a lot of the times, bro, we like to mask our sadness with anger. Like, we like to think we're angry. When you're not angry, you're sad, bro. And it's all right. You can be sad. You're a human being. You know what I mean? So it's just, with my music, I try to show people, like, yo, or at least show, you know what I mean, other black men, like, yo, dog, it's cool. You know what I mean? We have emotions. It's all right to let people know that. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be all right.
So, you know, when I read your Spotify post for a bit, like on the bio, it said you were like an award-winning producer for a bit, so... Tell me more about that story, and how did you feel like when you won that award at that time? Did it change everything for you in a way?
Not really. Shout out to Dreamhouse, the Dreamhouse Collective. They gave me an award for Best Writer for a short film I did with them. I released with them, the 10K one. Was it surprising? Yeah, I would say it was surprising. You know what I mean? Because, like, I pulled up to that award show by myself. Like, I was just cool to, like, show people. Like, and the funny thing about it was, I was so fresh in the game. There was people there that I didn't even know. Like, I remember Sean Leon was there. A couple other people were there, and I didn't even realize that they were in the building because I didn't know who the fuck they were at the time. Like, I was just so fresh. So when I won the award, I was just like, holy shit, like, this is crazy. Because I had directed it myself. Not directed it, I should say. Shout out to my boy Jack. He directed it. So, but yeah, I had produced it, writ it. So yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I know that since you've played football for a while, what are your like top 5 like NFL players of all time, or just like currently at the moment? And
currently and past?
You could either say one or the other and all that.
Okay, I'm gonna mix it. I'll mix it for you.
And how do you feel about like the season so far with like the NFL and the CFL?
Oh man, okay. Top 5: Troy Polamalu, Ray Lewis, Jerome Bettis, Michael Vick, and I'll say Lamar Jackson because that boy is doing this thing. And the NFL season, if you're a betting man, if you're betting on the league right now, you're upset. The NFL is crazy this year. If you're somebody that's just watching it for fun, then you're loving the NFL this year. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Do you do fantasy by any chance?
Oh yeah.
So how's your team right now?
Oh, it sucks because you never know what's happening this season, man. The season's crazy. It's wonky, man. It's wonky, man.
Yeah. Because, you know, you could have someone that could be dropped off immediately due to other stuff. Like, that's why years ago, like, you know, when people had, like, Antonio Brown and all that.
Oh,
like,
exactly. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it can happen.
It can happen. You know what I mean? Like, you could have drafted D-Hop, and then you're thinking, like, yeah, I got a number 1 receiver, and you don't get to use him until week 7. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, most definitely. How do you feel about the, like, you know, certain, like, NFL players becoming rappers and releasing music? You know, AB is at Rolling Loud, you know, performing and doing all these, like, wild stuff.
Put that shit on.
You have Levon Bell, who did a song with Dirk a while back, and then Melvin Ingram, you know?
He did a song with who?
Levon Bell, he did a song with Dirk. Like,
Little Dirk?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Shout him out. He probably paid for the verse, of course, but still, I feel like rappers want to be ballers and ballers want to be rappers. It's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? I feel like as a kid growing up, as a black kid growing up, yo, you either want to be a rapper, a baller, or you're selling drugs. It's one of those three. So when you grow up, you see like if you're a rapper, you want to be playing ball. If you're a baller, you want to be, you know what I mean, rapping. So. Yeah, man.
How did you feel about the recent AB situation going on? Like you saw like the video of him.
That's CTE. I'll keep it a buck. Like, and a lot of people don't realize it how drastic. Like, you have to think about the human brain and what it controls. And if you gotta think about it like a computer. Like when your computer is on the fritz, your computer overloads. Like your computer's doing all kind of crazy things that you can't control. So I literally look at AB and I'm sad when he does that though, because I'm like, yo, he needs help. But obviously it's up to him to get the help, but he needs help.
Yeah, most definitely. We just have some of these questions left. And
yeah.
That's it. So how do you feel about the Toronto GTA music scene so far at the moment? Do you feel that there should be some changes on the direction of where the scene should go to? Or do you think it's fine the way it is?
It's boring. To keep it a buck with you, if we're talking about like mainstream or whatever you want to call mainstream, Toronto rap is boring, bro. Everybody sounds the same. They're rapping about the same thing. Everybody's shooting everybody. Everybody's selling the most drugs. Everybody's, you know what I mean, got the most money. Everybody's having fucking everybody else's ditch. So it's just like, bro, it's really boring. I'll keep it a buck with you, yo. It needs a drastic change. Like people talk about the city, we can make some change in the city. And it's like, well, if y'all stop talking about the same things and y'all stop glorifying it, then maybe the change will come. But other than that, people don't care, man. They're making money, so they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
I mean, either, like, some are getting locked, some are getting killed and all that. Like, Pengs got a chance, got locked up in Sudbury and all that. No,
it doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make no sense. Like, it's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? To me, it's insanity. Like, you're seeing people do the same thing. They're getting up, they're still hanging on the same block, still doing the same shit, locked up or dead. All right, here's the next one doing the same shit. Like, when are y'all going to learn? Yeah. Like, you got to make a change. Like, use your head. Like, come on. Like, for real.
Most definitely. And, you know, like, especially with, like, Rolling Loud that came to Toronto a while back, Academics doing a stream, like, last year with all these, like, Toronto rappers and, like, the Clubhouse sessions that were going on. Yeah. Did you feel like those were, like, shedding light so far, or, like, it didn't really have... Like...
No, of course, because Toronto, it was shedding light, whether negative or positive. Like they say, all publicity is good publicity, right? At the end of the day, Toronto had no publicity other than Drake and The Weeknd. Ain't nobody knew, like, Toronto rap, you know what I mean? So honestly, shout out to Academics for giving those guys a platform to talk their shit. You know what I mean? Shout out to Rolling Out for pulling through and giving those guys a platform to perform. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? We got a chance, so you got a chance, that's good. Whether it's one of us or all of us, it don't matter. You know what I mean? If you're sour and you're upset about that in the city, that's because your ass ain't working hard enough. So, straight up.
Most definitely, man. What's next for you in terms of other creative projects and so forth? And do you have any final words you'd like to say for any creative or any person out there pursuing their dreams?
For what's next for B1GJuice, well, first I would say follow me at B1GJuice. Shadows with the project we just dropped. We have a like a little scrapbook with some information and lyrics and stuff like that. Y'all can check out. Got a project coming up. It's gonna be really different, sample based. Think orchestras with samples. That's gonna be dope. Look for that for the end of the year. Got an event November 11th that I'm hosting. Pull up, trying to do my own thing, starting my own thing, trying to get that done. And just look up for more work, man. Just more work. All right, at B1GJuice.
All right.
And for anybody out there that's trying to do something artistically, one, do what you love. Learn to love the process and not the product. Because if you don't, at the end of the day, you're gonna be drained and you're not gonna give a shit. And then two, remember, nobody else gives a shit. So just do you, dog, and you'll be alright. So.
Alright, that's blessed. B1GJuice.
Yes.
Thank you for coming by, man. You know, like, it was, like, inspiring to hear your story, to hear, like, you know, your tales and everything else, too, with your experience with sports, with music, with everything, you know, just being a creative self and all that. And
appreciate you.
Wish nothing but the best for you and all that. You know, definitely would love to have you back on
here.
Oh,
for sure, dog. For sure.
Speak some gems, you know,
there we go.
Like, have, like, some interesting stories, too, you know, so.
There we go, man. For sure, man. For sure. I appreciate you having me. Make sure y'all check in and tap in with my boy. Let's go, man.
All right. Until next time, man.
Peace.